What's up, friends and Padawans? Welcome back to the Stark Side. Crash landed here, and we are talking about the Skeleton Crew, the entire season today. Just wanted to come back and give you my thoughts after a successful Star Wars endeavor. Apparently, everybody was happy with the show as a whole. We'll get into the streaming numbers at some point throughout this video, but it was a successful show. I'm very happy that the fandom, specifically, appreciated and approved what John Watts and his crew were trying to accomplish, and I think it was a very exciting story outside the Skywalker saga. Just for fun, let's see what I theorized after episodes 1 and 2 and see what I got right. But back to the planet. I think the planet houses all the other currencies from past regimes. It might be some kind of exchange hub, or better yet, secret facility that was able to collect past currency and is riddled with the Imperial remnants. Meaning they are creating a path to not only fund, but staff a future First Order with loyal white-collar workers to ensure a smooth takeover and transition. My question when I saw The Force Awakens was, how did the First Order just come out of nowhere? And if they didn't come out of nowhere, why weren't they stopped in their infancy instead of being allowed to build a planet-killing weapon? At least what we're seeing now is an opportunity to see what might have happened if there was a secret facility somewhere, funding and training the First Order right under the New Republic's noses. Since we've already seen a bureaucratic, red tape version of the New Republic in Mandalorian, which starts a year after the Skeleton Crew on the timeline, it's not that far-fetched. Now, from the way the pirates get about hearing At-Aten, it sounds like a lost treasure story that no one believed to be true. But now, as they see those old credits in mint condition, they believe it may exist somewhere and the kids will be able to guide them there. So the theory I like is that people running this world were set up by the New Republic and just maybe an Imperial loyalist who had been rehabilitated by the amnesty program in Mandalorian that works to keep this world hidden and starts to set up what we know to be the First Order. Maybe. And the credits they hold on At-Aten to be exchanged or used for whatever are really being funneled to create the First Order. Since it's illegal to interact with the system, it's obviously happened before, like the reason McDonald's coffee cups say hot liquids inside. So the legend that there is tons of credits on this hidden world might have gotten around like the telephone game. The story's just a little different depending on who you talk to. And Captain Wolfman and Captain Silver's crew could have been looking for that ship that was supposed to be transporting credits from there, and maybe At-Aten is the secret mint of the galaxy, and new currencies made there. Who knows? Okay, so what did I get right? The secret mint. That's probably the biggest thing. It might even be the only thing. It turns out there were 9 of these planets that were out there in the galaxy that were hidden, and 8 of them were destroyed or ravaged, and only 1 had the mint on it, I believe. However, we get no evidence of Imperial remnants. It's actually clear that the adults of the planet understood that they had been ruled by droids, and everyone was on the same page about that and staying hidden from the rest of the dangerous galaxy. The last message that they received from the Republic was that all the Jedi were enemies and traitors, and this was happening about 25 years after that message would have been received. But they had no knowledge of the Empire falling, which is kind of interesting. The Onyx Cinder itself looked like it had been on a planet for a lot longer than 25 years, in my opinion. In a community where they hadn't seen a ship land on their platform in a lifetime, long enough to get out of the way when they actually did see one land on their platform, they definitely don't remember reports or rumors about a ship crash landing in their own backyard, maybe a mile or so away from the neighborhood that Elisa, Wim, and Neil ended up living in. My estimation is that hundreds of years ago, when that legendary pirate Tech Renard found At-Aten, he never left, or he actually was killed by his crew before the crash and the survivors colonized At-Aten. Or he never actually made it, and the ship crashing was the closest anyone ever got. The pirate story works for this new era of Star Wars, and maybe we need to stick with it and see that through before we go back to the High Republic and all the old Republic stuff. I like the new show. It's different, it's nostalgic, which I think is the vibe that they were going for with all the Amblin Entertainment references. It feels completely believable that this huge galaxy has this part that we haven't quite seen yet, and as I've heard, is kind of close proximity to Dathomir, which is far out from all the other planets that we normally visit. We've seen it in the Clone Wars, just not in live action. So out there, the legend goes that the pirates searching for this long-lost planet with riches unimaginable, he and his crew find 9 planets all hidden with barriers, and I believe he invaded each one until finding the planet of At-Aten. What I need to know is, and maybe I'll catch it on the rewatch, is if each planet had a mint or just the final one. If each planet had a mint, then maybe the plunder was just to move all the credits to the one planet and keep the barrier up, and hide all the coordinates to AT-AT on all the other planets, which we saw. That was why they had a total of 1,139 vaults with millions of credits each. But we can assume that Tack Ritter, the famous pirate we are speaking of, settled on AT-AT, or less likely was actually killed by his crew before they crashed on AT-AT. Or on second thought, did they crash or was the ship just hidden? We do know that it was a native ship to the planet, and that's why it was able to A, leave the barrier without issue, and why B, they were able to re-enter the planet, as we learned that the ship was actually the key to get in. Pretty much got great character development from all the kids, Wim, Fern, KB, and Neil, which was the crowd favorite there. With the ending, the way it was wrapped up, we don't really need a full season 2. If we were to get a full season 2, it should be about what's happening on AT-AT and to AT-AT after the fall of the barrier. What I want is for the cast to show up in The Mandalorian and references be made to the mint on AT-AT, so we know what happened to all the money. By the time the Mando movie comes out, the kids will be at least 2 to 3 years older than they were, and the way kids grow, they could be aged up further to fit the story. We could assume AT-AT became a part of the New Republic, and I'd be fine with the confirmation in another project opposed to a season 2 for season 2's sake. Just like I wouldn't mind Plagueis Palpatine show to progress the Acolyte story, or even Plagueis Tenebra's story depending on who Chimera was supposed to be in that story, because he's the only one everybody wants back. Here's my issue with the Acolyte. It was being set up to receive 2 seasons, and the story was written as a mystery that they wanted to reveal the answer and twist at the end, as it sets up what season 2 will be about, which would have been the story that you were all saying that you were promised and didn't get. Now, since you actually got a show canceled because of all your online criticism for 8 weeks in conjunction with low viewership, spoiler alert, all these shows have low viewership because the studios have no idea to judge the numbers yet, because they don't understand how people and when people want to sit down and watch. But since they can't point to all these comments and criticisms, they just cut the cord. And I still argue it's because all the hatred towards the showrunner for past projects or her sexual orientation, or the press tour because it was that early that everyone hated the show. But now that it happened, I feel the same group of people felt like shit afterwards because they were such dicks to women in the franchise that they claim to be fans of, that those same people went out of their way to love this show. And as I liked both shows and understood the directions that they were supposed to go, it's more obvious why the Acolyte was treated the way it was versus Skeleton Crew. Now I know I've beat this topic into the ground, but it's because the Acolyte was a good show and we were in such a good direction for exploring those 100 years in between that and the Phantom Menace. But I digress. It's over. We're on to the next thing. I'm currently going through all the books, just like you guys wanted. I'm already up on Plagueis, already up on Dooku. Now I'm going through Thrawn. And if you guys have any questions in the comments, just let me know. Have any issues with my video, my thoughts, just let me know. We can talk about it. I'm still a fan of the universe. And that's what I want everybody who claims to be a fan of. And that's all. You know, it's hard when you agree with people not liking the direction that Disney went in, but thinking that they can change it and, you know, making a big stink about everything that comes out. Obviously, they aren't adapting the books exactly like we wanted them to do, but they are going in a direction using some of the Legends material. So we need to just be happy for it, you know? Starkside here again, and we'll be back with more content. Like I said, it's not just Star Wars, it's Marvel, it's Game of Thrones, it's whatever we want to talk about. Currently watching Severance if you guys want to talk about Severance, but you know, that's all I have for today. This has been Crash Landing on Starkside, and I'm out of here.